Greetings, friends. It's Monday, February 15th. I hope you had a lovely Valentine's Day yesterday. My mother made dinner for us and we exchanged a couple of little Valentine's gifts. It was really nice. And we are continuing in Eugene Peterson's book, A Long Obedience in the Same Direction, about discipleship, which is a very good thing to be entering into Lent talking about. And we're going to talk about worship today. He's been using the Psalms of Ascent, and we are using Psalm 122 to begin our conversation about worship. When they said, "Let's go to the house of God," my heart leaped for joy. And now we're here, O Jerusalem, inside Jerusalem's walls. Jerusalem, well-built city, built as a place for worship. The city to which the tribes ascend, all God's tribes go up to worship, to give thanks to the name of God. This is what it means to be Israel. Thrones for righteous judgment are set there, famous David thrones. Pray for Jerusalem's peace. Prosperity to you, Jerusalem lovers. Friendly insiders, get along. Hostile outsiders, keep your distance. For the sake of my friends and family, I say it again, live in peace. For the sake of the house of our God, I'll do my very best for you. And from Nicholas Berdyaev, there's something morally repulsive about modern activistic theories which deny contemplation and recognize nothing but struggle. For them, not a single moment has value in itself, but is only a means for what follows. One of the afflictions of pastoral work has been to listen with a straight face to all the reasons people give for not going to church. My mother made me when I was little. There are too many hypocrites in church. It's the only way I have to sleep in. There was a time when I responded to such statements with simple arguments that exposed them as flimsy excuses. Then I noticed that it didn't make any difference. If I showed the inadequacy of one's excuse, 3 more would pop up in its place. So I don't respond anymore. I listen with a straight face and go home and pray that person will one day find the one sufficient reason for going to church, which is God. I go about my work hoping that what I do and say will be usable by the Holy Spirit to create in that person a determination to worship God in a Christian community. Many people do. They decide to worship God faithfully and devoutly. It is one of the important acts in a life of discipleship. And what is far more interesting than the reasons, excuses, people give for not worshiping is discovering the reasons they do. Psalm 122 is the song of a person who decides to go to church and worship God. It is a sample of the complex, diverse, and worldwide phenomenon of worship that is common to all Christians. It is an excellent instance of what happens when a person worships. Psalm 22 is third in the sequence of the Songs of Ascent. Psalm 120 is the Psalm of Repentance, the one that gets us out of an environment of deceit and hostility and sets us on our way to God. Psalm 121 is the Psalm of Trust, a demonstration of how faith resists patent medicine remedies to trial and tribulations and determinedly trusts God to work out God's will and guard you from every evil. Psalm 122 is the Psalm of Worship, a demonstration of what people of faith everywhere and always do, gather to an assigned place and worship God. An instance of the average. The first line catches many by surprise. When they said, "Let's go to the house of God," my heart leaped for joy. But it shouldn't. Worship is the most popular thing that Christians do. A great deal of what we call Christian behavior has become part of our legal system and is embedded in our social expectations, but of which have strong coercive powers. If we removed all laws from society and eliminated all consequences for antisocial acts, we don't know how much murder, how much theft, how much perjury and falsification would take place. But we do know that much of what we commonly describe as Christian behavior is not volitional at all. It is enforced. But worship is not forced. Everyone who worships does so because he or she wants to. There are, to be sure, a few temporary coercions. Children and spouses who attend worship because another has decided that they must. But these coercions are short-lived, a few years at most. Most Christian worship is voluntary. An excellent way to test people's values is to observe what we do when we don't have to do anything. How we spend our leisure time, how we spend our extra money. Even in a time when church attendance is not considered to be in the upswing in the United States, the numbers are impressive. There are more people at worship on any given Sunday, for instance, than there are at all the football games or the golf links or fishing or taking walks in the woods. Worship is the single most popular act in this land. And this second edition came out in 2000. I hope that's still true. So when we hear the psalmist say, when they said, "Let's go to the house of God, my heart leaped for joy," we are not listening to the phony enthusiasm of a propagandist drumming up business for worship. We are witnessing what is typical of most Christians in most places at most times. This is not an exception to which we aspire. It is an instance of average. A framework. Why do we do it? Why is there so much voluntary and faithful worship by Christians? Why is it that we never find a Christian life without, in the background somewhere, an act of worship? Never find Christian communities without also finding Christian worship? Why is it that worship is not the common background to all Christian existence, and that it is so faithfully and willingly practiced? Why is it that worship is the common background to all Christian existence, and is practiced so faithfully and willingly? The Psalm singles out 3 items. Worship gives us a workable structure for life. Worship nurtures our need to be in relationship with God. Worship centers our attention on the decisions of God. Worship gives us a workable structure for life. The Psalm says, "Jerusalem, well-built city, built as a place for worship, the city to which the tribes ascend. All God's tribes go up to worship." Jerusalem, for a Hebrew, was the place of worship. Only incidentally was it the geographical center of the country and the political seat of authority. The great worship festivals, to which everyone came at least 3 times a year, were held in Jerusalem. In Jerusalem, everything that God said was remembered and celebrated. When you went to Jerusalem, you encountered the great foundational realities. God created you, God redeemed you, God provided for you. In Jerusalem, you saw in ritual and heard proclaimed in preaching the powerful history-shaping truth that God forgives our sins and makes it possible to live without guilt and with purpose. In Jerusalem, all the scattered fragments of experience, all the bits and pieces of truth and feeling and perception were put together in a single whole. The King James Version translates this sentence, "Jerusalem is builded as a city that is compact together." Earlier, Coverdale had translated the latter phrase as, "that is at unity with itself." The city itself was a kind of architectural metaphor for what worship is. All the pieces of masonry fit complacently. All the building stones fit harmoniously. There were no loose stones, no leftover pieces, no awkward gaps in the walls or towers. It was well built, complacently built, skillfully built, at unity with itself. What is true architecturally is also true socially, for the sentence continues, to which the tribes ascend, all God's tribes. In worship, all the different tribes functioned as a single people in harmonious relationship. In worship, though we have come from different places and out of various conditions, we are demonstrably after the same things, saying the same things, doing the same things. With all our differing levels of intelligence and wealth, background and language, rivalries and resentments, still, in worship, we are gathered into a single whole. Outer quarrels and misunderstandings and differences pale into insignificance as the inner unity of what God builds in the act of worship is demonstrated. When a person is confused and things refuse to fit together, she sometimes announces a need to get out of noise and turbulence, to get away from all the hassle and get my head together. When she succeeds in doing this, we call that person put together. All the parts are there. Nothing is left out. Nothing is out of proportion. Everything fits in a workable frame. As I entered a home to make a pastoral visit, the person I came to see was sitting at a window, embroidering a piece of cloth held taut on an oval loop. She said, "Pastor, while waiting for you to come, I realized what's wrong with me. I don't have a frame. My feelings, my thoughts, my activities, everything is loose and sloppy. There is no border to my life. I never know where I am. I need a frame for my life like this one I have for my embroidery." How do we get that framework, that sense of solid structure, so that we know where we stand and are therefore able to do our work easily and without anxiety? Christians go to worship. Week by week, we enter the place complacently built, to which the tribes ascend, and get a working definition for life, the way God created us, the ways God leads us. We know where we stand. And for the rest of this chapter, you'll have to tune in tomorrow. I really love this. The heart leaping for joy going to worship. When's the last time that happened to you? I hope yesterday. But in case not, maybe God could work on your heart a little this week and you could leap for joy going into next week's worship, huh? Yes, so that we can live in peace. And the very last line is, God, I will do my very best for you. For the last few nights, when I've awakened in the middle of the night, and it's taken me a few minutes to fall back asleep, I start praying. I start asking for God to direct my life. And it's amazing how soundly I sleep after those prayers. Let us pray the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I hope you find some reason for which your heart might leap for joy today in regard to God.